Like the expression goes, you should never judge a designer luxury shoe until you've walked a mile in it. Well, I walked a few miles in these shoes, so I think I can give you guys a great overall kind of view on whether or not they are comfortable and worth the money in the perspective of luxury shoes, because I am not somebody that will dress in something that is uncomfortable because it was expensive or because I think it looks great. Like, if it's uncomfortable, I won't wear it, okay? I'm missing the gay gene where beauty knows no pain, because if my toes are like squished in like this, I can't wear something because I could die. So I'm going to be giving you my views on shoes from Valentino, Golden Goose and Christian Louboutin, because I've done some KMs, okay? I've learnt every bunion of the way there on whether or not they are comfortable, so let's get into it. But firstly guys, if you are new here, my name's Connor, and on my channel I like to talk about all things luxury, so if that's something you're into, I'd love it if you could hit the subscribe button and the bell button so you're notified when I bring out new videos. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Now, the first brand of sneakers I'm going to be talking about is Golden Goose. This is my pair of Ball Stars that I purchased in October 2022. I have done a lot of walking in these shoes, especially when I was in Paris. I only brought one pair of sneakers and I wore these all the time that I was there, and I did a lot of walking. If you're unfamiliar with Golden Goose, they're an Italian footwear brand that make handmade shoes, and I guess the ethos of the brand is luxury footwear that comes pre-distressed. It's the kind of urban city slicker but high-end quality image that they portray, and these shoes, I have to say, are phenomenal. They are incredibly comfortable, they are very durable, and they are great quality. Whilst I do understand that not everybody wants to spend $700, $800, $900 plus on a pair of shoes that are already distressed, and look, each to their own. I generally wouldn't be that kind of person, but I think, like, you know how Gucci brought out distressed ones and that sort of thing? I wouldn't do that, but I think because this brand, this is what they do, it kind of is synonymous with buying a pair of Golden Gooses that they are pre-worn in. But I must say, I've never felt more comfortable putting on a pair of new shoes that are already pre-distressed, because it really does take the notch off. It's like that little afternoon beverage where it kind of makes you feel a bit better. Not that I know, but I've heard it from other people. But yeah, these were absolutely fantastic, great value for money, and I think the part that I love most about them is there is this overall no pair is the same sort of thing, because they come pre-distressed and someone has literally by hand scuffed it and marked it and done all this stuff to it. So I kind of like that aspect. Mine, like I said before, are the Ball Stars, as you can tell by here, and this version of Golden Goose, or this style I should say, are the most true to size. I got them in a 43 and they fit like a normal 43 should. I also got mine with some graffiti on the side here, so if you do pick up a pair in a like Golden Goose boutique, they do have the option of doing a bit of customization. You can get different kinds of laces, you can get embellishments, jewels, whatever your heart desires, and yeah, so I like that aspect to them as well. In terms of overall comfort, I find these incredibly comfortable. Now, the sole that it comes with is this, it's like a soft foamy sole, but it's firm enough where, you know, it's like, you know, like a firm mattress where you're like, oh, it's uncomfortable the first time you lay down in it, but overall, because it's supporting you, you know it's doing good, and then over time you find it very comfortable. This was the same. When I first put them on, I was like, they're comfortable, but they're a little firm, but probably after like a day out of walking, so a few hours of walking, my foot kind of settled into them, and then I found them very, very comfortable. Like I said before, I think the day that I did the most walking in Paris, I think it was 25,000 steps, which I think is 14 kilometers. I did that in a solid day, and my feet did not hurt. I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm dying to take these shoes off. So that's a great indicator. Whilst they are expensive, they're very worth the money. I find them worth the money, especially when we're talking about luxury footwear, and I would highly recommend buying a pair of these if you are on the fence, and if you're not sure about putting up your money for such a shoe. You got my blessing, put it that way. Now the next pair of shoes would be the infamous Christian Louboutins. Now these are probably their most popular sneaker design. It's the Louis Junior, and mine have the spikes on the front. Comes in this navy and white or creamy color canvas. Then there's navy suede along the edges here, and then white leather, silver little spikes, and of course the red soles. Now look, these shoes are not uncomfortable, but they're not the most comfortable of the shoes that I do have, and I'd probably say they're the least comfortable, but they're not uncomfortable. Now, the reasons why they're not comfortable is because they're very firm, and mainly this part of the shoe, because this leather is kind of like supporting the back of it. When you put your foot in, there's nothing to really mold to, and there's nothing to really soften over time. Now, if this part of the shoe would if this part was leather, sorry, it would soften over time, but because this part is like a reinforced scenario, and it's not a part of the shoe that moves a lot, so it won't really soften. In saying that, I've never gotten blisters or anything from wearing it. It's just when I'm wearing them, it's noticeably firm. Now, I've mentioned this in another video, but in my shoes, I put these laces in there called laces. I'm not sure if you can see on the little tab bit there, but basically they're an elastic shoelace that you thread through your shoes. You can get them in different sizes depending on what size shoe you are, and I prefer these kinds of laces on my sneakers because I hate tucking in laces, I hate laces dangling down, and I just think it looks a bit daggy. So I bought these for it, and I bought them for my Valentino shoes as well, and that has really, I guess, been the deal breaker between them being uncomfortable to wear. I think with traditional laces, when you tie them up, it does get firm on this part, and when you're walking, you will rub against, I guess, the inner tongue of the shoe, and I feel like that's where a lot of people with firmer shoes, sneakers, do say they're uncomfortable because there's that pressure there. I think having the elastic laces has alleviated that, and I will link them in the description box. I'm not sure if there's an American website. If there is, I'll chuck it in, but obviously these are from an Australian website. So I think that these, obviously, in terms of the overall look or the overall aesthetic you're trying to pull off, works. And I think that they're not a shoe I would wear if I was out walking all day. Like, I wouldn't have taken these to Paris and worn them out all day, because I think prolonged wear, you would find them uncomfortable. The sole is probably a little bit softer than the Golden Goose, but I think when they're softer earlier on, it means it's going to get harder to walk in them because, I don't know, that's just the logic I use. But they're more of a going out for dinner or going out for maybe running a few errands. I wouldn't, they're designer sneakers at the end of the day. They're not really designed to be trekking and hiking up Mount Everest, going to Kathmandu, but I think if you want a pair of Louboutin sneakers because you like the overall look, or you're a sneaker person, and you want to kind of elevate what you're looking to do, these are a good option, and they're not so uncomfortable to the point where you just can't be bothered putting them on, like the heels, I guess, would be. They're not uncomfortable where you're like, I can't be bothered putting them on because it's just going to hurt. It's just something to keep in mind where I would wear them around the house the first time you're wearing it, just so you know what I'm talking about. And if you're going out for dinner, or if you're going out to, do a few little things, they're fine for that. But I would minimize the overall walking, because I think over time they would get harder and harder on the back of your feet especially. But I would buy another pair of these if they're in, a combination that's suited. I do like these, and I like, when I put them on, I feel like maybe these can be my what's it called? Mob Wives shoe. I know they're not like leopard print or anything, but like they've got spikes on the end. Like, that's pretty Mob Wives. Like the concrete boots equivalent, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I would give these like a 6 out of 10 in comfort level. Definitely an investment piece, but it all comes down to the overall look, and if you love it, buy it. And the last pair would be my Valentino Ultimate sneakers. Obviously, these ones in the white, and I've worn them quite a bit. These I was worried would be uncomfortable just because the leather looks quite firm. I'd read people say that they were uncomfortable or they took time to wear in. These shoes, I never had any issues wearing them in. As soon as I put them on, they were easy to walk in. I didn't get any rubbing. I didn't have to wait for the leather to soften up. And I think once again, it comes down to the laces that I put in them as well. These are uncomfortable. These are very comfortable. I've worn these out all day, on multiple days. I've gone out, like after my work Christmas party, I wore these, and then we went to the club and I wore these and they were fine. And I think I'm a bit of a wuss too. Like if I have a low pain threshold, or I get irritated easily. So I think using that as a guide of what I would find comfortable, uncomfortable, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say that these are comfortable. I would size up. Now, I'm a 43, but if I was to get my foot measured by those foot people, I'd probably be a 42.5, but I think your feet swell up, especially in warmer weather, and when you're wearing sneakers, they would swell up more so, because I guess you're traditionally wearing sneakers when you're doing a bit of walking. So I would go up a size with any of these sneakers, or half a size if you are. I wouldn't get dead on what you normally would be, just because you need a bit of room for the tootsies to breathe. And getting these in a 43 has been perfect. The overall quality of these shoes is really good as well. Like you would think a white, smooth leather shoe is a bit, you know, rolling the dice, but I feel like the overall quality of these shoes has been really great. The leather is, whilst it's firm, it's still a little bit soft, but it doesn't really get dirty or scuff or chip away or anything like that. So I feel like the price point of these matches the quality and the comfort. Again, I would get the laces. I think that it's good not seeing any of the laces on these kinds of shoes, but that's a preference. Some people like them. Some people like physically tying up the shoelaces. Some people have their own little pulley system where they thread them under and everything like that. So it really does come down to preference. But overall, I think the theme of this video is like all three of these styles of shoes, which are quite popular. They are comfortable, and I think it all kind of boils down to how you make it work for yourself. I don't think I would ever recommend buying a pair of shoes and the day you get them, wearing them on a holiday or wearing them out all day or something like that, because guys, that is a recipe for disaster. But I think once you've kind of worn them in a little bit at home and you get the overall use of, or the general idea of how comfortable they are, I think that's the best thing to do. Now, I'm not really an expert on footwear, okay? This is just my opinion on this, but I think mainly if you're on the fence because you've heard that something is uncomfortable, I think they're not. I think they're being a bit wusses, okay? But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you own any of these shoes? Have you had these experiences with them? Let me know. And please give this video the thumbs up also if you've enjoyed it. Love it if you could hit the subscribe button as well, and head on over to Instagram and follow my account, theclosetbyconnor_. Have a little video up here somewhere of a previous video which you could go and check out as well. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very shortly in my next video. Bye!